Casey's Audio Vault.
Dave Mustaine from Megadeth.
April 30th, 2008.
Hello.
Hey, Dave, it's Casey. How's it going?
It's who?
Casey from Power 97.
Casey. Hi, Casey. How are you?
I'm okay. How's the weather out in Toronto?
We are not in TO, brother.
Oh, no? I thought you had a show there tonight.
It's in Mississauga. It's 20 minutes away from Toronto.
As the word of
Never
God
mind
comes
the little
down.
woman behind the curtain.
Right. All right, so weather's okay where you're at. That's all I was really looking for.
It's actually brisk. It's nice and clear out here. You know, it's springtime. So I mean, I'm kind of surprised it's this cold, but you know, we are up in the Great White North. So
That's right. Welcome back to Canada.
you know, one good thing about the cold weather up here is it makes our female friends perky.
You've been pretty busy since United Abominations came out touring. You
Yes, I
still
have.
pretty happy getting out there playing the music every night?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to play music. There's some people that do this for a living and they take it for granted and don't realize, what a blast it is. I've been doing it for a long time, and standing up on stage, it doesn't get dull. I mean, there are some nights where you have difficulties with technology out here, or, some stuff will go wrong because there'll be an interruption to the show. There was a famous video that was put on one of those YouTube-type sites back before YouTube was around. Some girl threw her bra during one of my guitar solos in She-Wolf, and I was doing the solo, and I had to reach up with my right hand and pull her bra off of my guitar. And it's like, those things, I mean, it's funny when you look at it on TV and stuff like that, but in the heat of the moment, you got to really keep your composure.
Were you able to finish that solo all right?
Well, no, I was trying to read the address tag inside. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course I was. For me, it was just one of those things where it's just a slight temporary distraction, and you just gotta get through it and move on. For me, the performance is the most important thing for me. That 90 minutes of the day is what I basically live for. When we get up in the morning until we go to bed at night, that's all we talk about. It's all we think about.
Have you had a recent disruption on stage? Any sort of malfunction, speakers blow, anything like that?
Well, when we first started this festival, as you can imagine, there was quite a lot of personnel and a lot of equipment. And using a PA at the beginning of every tour, it's an assembly of a bunch of different parts. So sometimes when they put these things together, you get 6 or 7 cabinets from one tour and half a dozen from another tour, and they don't necessarily work together. Sometimes they're out of phase, which for your listeners means that stuff don't work.
Yeah.
So the first week of every tour, there's a kind of a grace period where you're feeling out, the equipment, and you're getting to know one another. And 5 bands, there's at least 20 people on this tour, and then with the crew, there's at least another 20 or 30 there, and then with all the sound and light people, there's a lot of people. So everything's going great right now. I think the beauty of all this is that the media is losing their mind, saying this is the best Gigantour yet, and that's quite a statement because the previous Gigantours had some great bands on there.
Does it feel a little bit different? I guess you've been doing Gigantour for a little while, but the last tour was with Heaven and Hell. A little bit of a dynamic change you feel now that you're back being the oldest band, I guess, the senior band in the tour?
Very funny. Well, no, when we did the Heaven and Hell thing, you would have to be an absolute retard to not recognize the benefit of doing that because, it's Black Sabbath, and even though they called it Heaven and Hell, it was Black Sabbath, and it was good for us to be able to get exposure in front of some of the fans that like Black Sabbath who don't know who Megadeth are, because there are Black Sabbath fans that don't know who Megadeth are. And it was also great for us to be able to have the young people who love Megadeth that don't know who Black Sabbath are, that have never seen them, to think it's like, your father's Oldsmobile kind of thing. They got to see one of my favorite bands growing up as a kid.
One other thing that's been different, I guess, from the last tour and this one is you've got a brand new guitarist.
That came about in a very interesting way. There's a lot of people that were bitching about saying it was handled wrong, and it's like, what was there to handle? Glenn quit. He loves his son, and he wanted to stay home with him. I thought it was fantastically noble for him to do that. He told my manager. 2 weeks later, I found out. As you can imagine, I was surprised and upset, just like his brother was, Sean. But Sean said, let's get Chris Broderick, and Glenn said, you know what, I endorse him. I think he's a great replacement for me, and he moved on. So we're friends, and all these butt wipes that think that they know what's going on or that something was mishandled, it's like, dude, if you got a bone to pick with somebody, take it up with Glenn. Don't take it up with me, because I didn't do anything. I didn't quit, and I didn't hide anything from the public. Me and Glenn are still friends, and I just talked to him recently. So it's like, it's what's that old saying? Small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, and large minds discuss ideas.
I haven't heard that quote before.
Well, you just did.
Do you keep your eye on politics, I guess, for the current candidates, that kind of thing? Well, I guess
kind of hard not to with what's going on in the States. We are the world's power right now, although I believe there's going to be a paradigm shift soon, which is frightening. But watching what's going on, what are your choices? You have a black American, you have a female white American, and then you have a male white American who is nearing being an octogenarian. And, McCain's temper is legendary. Hillary has been already confronted on a couple of times where she was caught lying. Barack Obama's been in the center of controversy right now. I mean, the bottom line is, brother, you cannot live in this world and not have somebody throw mud at you. If I ran for president, do you have any idea the stuff they would dig up on me? Dude, come on. It would make Stephen King look like Dr. Seuss.
Well, you're a part of Headcount, which is a voter registration. So if you don't like any of them, but you figure people should definitely go out there.
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that I didn't like any of them.
Okay. Which one do you like?
I'm not going to say that either. I'm not endorsing anybody. I can tell you that there are qualities that every one of them has that is good and bad. I think that just for the sheer fact that we're neighbors here, we want our continent here to be safe and for us to not have to worry about any imposing threats from, any of the terrorism stuff that we went through, because when the towers got hit, that stuff affected our Canadian friends and neighbors too. And as much as people like to forget about it, there were a lot of, Canadian families that were affected by that, some of them lost loved ones. And for me, knowing that McCain is more of a military guy, that would be good for our nation to have some military might again. Watching Hillary Clinton, when she was the First Lady, her husband put us through 8 years of a huge economic upswing. It was great for our economy, and when our economy prospers, so does yours. And then with Barack Obama, watching him, he's very eloquent with what he says when he speaks, and I believe that it would be very interesting to see the change that America would go through if they did have a president that was a man of color or a woman. I don't know that America's ready for that yet, but I was really impressed with something I watched Barack Obama do last night about addressing this thing with this Reverend Wright controversy that's going around. And the bottom line is, politics is just really how you deal with problems anyways, isn't it?
Other artists, musicians, most recently, Roger Waters at Coachella had a plane go over and drop all this like ticker tape, little flyers that said Obama. How do you feel about people in the public eye
oh my God,
standing up and saying...
That's unbelievable. I can't believe you just said that.
Just
that's
on Sunday night.
That's absolutely wild. Is he even American?
Waters?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
So what the fuck does he care about? Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. We're on radio. Sorry, brother. That just shocks me, okay? So what the heck is he doing dropping flyers trying to influence people to vote in the American people unless he's got a dual citizenship here? I mean, I respect Pink Floyd and everything like that, but you know what? I think that doing stuff like that is not using your celebrity right. you wouldn't see Bruce Springsteen dropping flyers, although he's already come out and said, that I like Barack Obama. It's just amazing that a foreigner would be doing something like that. I think that if I went to England and I did something like that, man, I'd get my ass whooped.
But I just want to go back to Headcount. That's the organization that helps get...
Yeah, Headcount for me, I think that's a brilliant opportunity for, they're not doing it up here, but, in the States, what it's doing is it's getting young Americans aware of the democratic process. I mean, both of our countries are run off of the democratic process, although they're different in some ways. We both claim to be, governed by a democracy. And I think that the more people that are involved, the more the idea of democracy works. And, for example, back in 1992, I got involved in the National Democratic Convention and worked with Rock the Vote. There was a bill that was entered into legislation to become a law called the Motor Voter Bill. And what they wanted to do was make it easier for people to register to vote so that people would become more active in the democratic process. So myself, Dwight Yoakam, Michael Stipe, and a couple other celebrities got involved with Rock the Vote, and we got this bill passed into a law. It was one of the greatest moments in my life as far as my political career or anything that I've done, because I haven't really done anything for, making laws. I certainly broke them, but never made them. And the blast about this whole thing was when I moved back from Arizona to California. I was filling out my driver's license form, and on the bottom of the form it says, "Check here if you want to register to vote." And I went, oh my God, that's for me. And it was the coolest thing. You see something on a federal form, and you know that it's a state form because it was for the California driver's license. But just to know you did something good like that, and you made people's lives easier, and you helped your nation. I mean, that's good stuff. So the thing with Headcount, we want to just get people, interested in the process and know that one voice really does make a difference. It really does. Look how much noise I've made.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us on the phone. And you're a Flyers fan, right?
I like hockey. My team that I say that I actually liked the most was when I lived in Nashville, because we were really involved with the record out there to the point where we moved to Nashville, and I loved their logo. And then we lived in Phoenix for a while, and I was a Coyotes supporter there. If you're talking about the thing that they did in the Washington Post, I thought that was pretty funny. So I certainly think that the way that everybody's handling this has been good fun, and it's neat to see the two cities competing, because they're two important cities for Megadeth, and I'm glad to see the Habs in the playoffs again, and unfortunately being down 2-1 right now, it's going back into Philly to go play, it's a tough audience to play in. So, the best team's going to win, and, I'm looking forward to seeing the Stanley Cup myself. I had friends of mine work with the Ducks, and when they had the Cup last year, I had an opportunity to go see it, and I missed it by about 2 hours. I was so pissed because it had swapped hands from one player to another, and the guy was going to make it available for me to come see it because we were playing in Anaheim. And I missed him, and I was like, ugh!
Well, I got to say thanks again, and enjoy, have a good show tonight, and maybe you can catch a bit of the Habs-Flyers game.
I would love that. You know what? For me, I can't play the game, but I love it. I tried playing. My first game, I got knocked on my butt, and the coach said, "Son, you need power skating." I said, "No, I need a bong toke. See you later." Now, my kid was good at skating, but you've got to really be just a stud in order to compete in the NHL. So, anyways.
Well, I'll let you go, but I was wondering if I can get you to do just a quick little liner for the station, a station ID.
Sure.
Yeah, just Dave Mustaine. You're listening to Winnipeg's Best Rock, Power 97.
Power 97.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, this is Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, and you're listening to Winnipeg's Best, Power 97. Hang on, somebody just walked in.
Winnipeg's Best Rock.
Best Rock, Power 97.
Yep.
Hey, this is Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, and you're listening to Winnipeg's Best Rock, Power 97.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right, buddy.
All the interviews you want on iTunes and at Power97.com. Casey's Audio Vault.
Casey Norman is Power 97's music director and can be heard every weekday from 2 till 6 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Power 97 is Winnipeg's Best Rock.